warm summer's evening, standing on the mound. The ballpark's full of cheering crowd. Home team's back in town.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Painted Corners Baseball Podcast. As always, I'm your co-host, Johnny C., joined by the Aidan Smith, the one and the only hot take producer of painting-corners.com, where you can find us reading all of our hot takes and articles every single week, including a new fan writing program coming out very soon. It's the holiday season. Merry Christmas, everybody, and that hot stove is getting steamy. Murakami to the Sox, Chris gets what Chris wants, and the Pirates are starting to be buyers. Who would have seen it? How are you doing this week, sir?
Yeah, so doing well, Johnny. I'm loving the Pirates spending money, you know. I think I was still getting my my $5 from the tooth fairy, or, you know, whatever it was. Back when the Pirates, right, last had their multi-year deal. Ivan Nova was their last multi-year free agency signing. So it's been a long time coming. I love seeing O'Hearn going to Pittsburgh. Probably a little bit of an overpay, but you got to overpay to get guys to Pittsburgh because they haven't won the division in 30 years.
Is that Katerina Ivanovna from the Brothers Karamazov, or a different one?
Different guy, yeah. I don't think they're related.
The thing we were talking last week about with the Blue Jays was they had to overpay a little themselves on Tyler Rogers to get him to the Rogers Center. Similarly here with the Bucks, but I love seeing them make moves. What changed? I know they got Brent Strom and Paul Skenes. A little bit of hype going on. They got Bryan. We talked about him last week. What's different in Pittsburgh?
To me, you got to make or break with Paul Skenes. So, you got a few years left of team control. I think you either got to move him for, the King's ransom as the best pitcher in the National League, or you make the most of it, which is what Sherrington and, everyone in that front office has chosen to do. And I think that's the right decision. I mean, if you're trading Paul Skenes away with multiple years of team control, what are you even really doing? I mean, it's just an annuity for the owner at that point. If you're not going to go for it when you have the best pitcher in the National League.
There's two angles we could go here. One, we could pivot to the American Central, to our sort of sister team that is always lackluster with the questionable front office, the Chicago White Sox, and what they did this week. And I think we'll go there. I was going to talk on the more details of the three-way trade with the Rays and Stros, but let's hit Murakami while we're there. Chris gets making moves. Chris gets what Chris wants. What do you think about Murakami? I liked your piece on it.
Yeah, so as you know, highest top exit velo of anyone 26 or younger in the world right now that we have record of. So that's impressive in itself. But, he also broke the Japanese-born single-season home run record that Sadaharu O set decades ago. And he was only, I think, 22 years old when he did it. So he hasn't had a season like that since, a couple of nagging injuries and things like that. But he really put it all together and tore it up at the right time in the second half of the season, the MPB season. Ultimately, it's rare that you get to buy age 26, age 27 of any free agent player. So being able to get that kind of youth, there's a premium price baked in. 2 years, $34 million to me. I love that signing for the White Sox.
I think it's a bargain for them and for Murakami getting to come over here, because the deal is he jumps right into free agency. So it seems like these two seasons on the South Side are his prove it to me you can hit MLB velo. And if you're good to go, I mean, worst case scenario, you go back home with $34 million in your pocket, which can buy you a lot of Taco Bell, as we all know. But if you hit big and that exit velo translates, wow, that could be cool.
Well, yeah, and if you think about in the friction of battle, right, you want to have as many doors as possible once the variance and uncertainty of reality kicks in. And if
Whoa.
Murakami if Murakami struggles, let's say, with the 95 plus, you still got the 34 million. You're back in the MPB and you're a king again and on your home turf. And if you are, let's say, a younger version of Pete Alonso, Kyle Schwarber, that type of hitter, he's going to get a massive payday. I mean, we're talking 150, $200 million if he can hit 35 homers a year and, hit above the league average batting average.
Similar to the Pirates having some things cooking, some irons in the fire with other
Mm-hmm.
moves, right? I was doing some research on the White Sox. We always talk about their pitching depth, right? That's their calling card. I was a big Hagen Smith guy, played for the Razorbacks up in Fayetteville, where my work's located. Had this crazy strikeout game that made the headline of MLB.com a couple years ago. I was just very intrigued by him. Been watching him and Noah Schultz in their system, and obviously Braden Montgomery, whom they acquired in the Garrett Crochet deal. And Montgomery's interesting. He's got a 60 grade hit power, 70 grade arm, plays the outfield. He's 12th overall in 24. But with Schultz and Smith, those are their other like top 5 big prospect arms that are looking to debut pretty soon, probably in 26 with Smith. The only thing is, and why am I bringing this up, is because is Murakami a sign of a renaissance happening? They booted Abreu at the end of the career. We saw what happened in Houston. They're clinging on to Luis Robert Jr. You got some arms like, Shane Smith is doing some stuff. Griffin Cannon maybe could figure a few things out. They shipped Hauser westward. And with Schultz and Smith, is there a light on the horizon?
I do think so. I mean, for them to be truly competitive and be successful, in a playoff uh, context, they're going to need more high leverage bullpen arms. They're going to need a few more starters. The offense probably needs a little more thump. So it's not to say, and the point of the article wasn't to say, wow, the White Sox are, going to be in the championship series in 2026. More to say, wow, they had the, worst record of all time 2 years ago, come back, win 60 games. What was that? A 19 game improvement. So, I mean, you do that a couple seasons, you're looking at, pretty good roster. So, I mean, if they can even make a 15 game jump, 75 win team with the way that all these guys are continuing to develop, another product of the Crochet trade, Kyle Teal, catcher of the future. And they still have Edgar there as well, who they got from the Angels in that Giolito trade deadline. And they fleeced the Angels on that move. So just a couple months of Giolito netted them, Edgar Quiro for, 6 years of team control. So they got a couple catchers. They got Colson Montgomery. They got Chase Meadroth, who is also Boston, actually, I believe. But and then they got Wikelman Gonzalez, the reliever, in that Crochet deal as well. So it's definitely starting to come together for them. They've had some bad breaks in the last couple of seasons. Luis Robert obviously just being terrible is a big one. But I'm banking on him having a decent year. And yeah, I think the White Sox could easily find themselves winning 75 games.
They're still my favorite City Connect jersey, the South Side ones.
They also do have the Pope support, which is pretty funny and cool.
Based. Speaking of Crochet and the Red Sox, quick, let's hit on Contreras, big bad catcher, but he's going to be pivoting to first base. My brain goes,
Yeah.
what about Triston? What's happening, my boy? Poor Triston, by the way. Too weird, debilitating. You know when you say weird with an injury in baseball, it means kind of freak accident. Nothing like this guy deserved or did based on, say, a poor pitching arm slot that's kind of his form's fault. Triston Casas had this weird patellar tendon thing, and he was out for a big chunk in 25.
Do you remember, was it that he tripped on Ty France's foot, or did Ty trip on him?
I think zebras are black with white stripes, yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so with Triston coming off a major injury like that, obviously you can't pencil him into play every day if you're, serious about winning the AL East. That being said, I do think there's a good chance that he comes back and he's productive. And obviously, Contreras is going to be in front of him on the depth chart. This dramatically increases the chances of Triston being traded. If he looks good, he's probably gone. And Contreras hasn't caught regularly in years. I mean, he last caught 100 games in 2021, and he didn't catch one game last year. So, Red Sox fans, I think, are thinking of him as, hey, he can catch here or there. I don't really expect that to be the case, but I really expect him to stick to first base. But I like the signing. I think he's good for 25 homers a year, and he's a pretty solid all-around hitter.
Yeah, Breslau and the Sox are saying he's going to be playing first base. That's what Casas got talked to, both in the media and by Breslau. He was very open about it. And I think that's a nice fire under Triston's ass to be like, look, you're great. You got a good bat, huge upside. Let's see what happens. Show me. Stay healthy. Contreras is going to get you 20 bombs at minimum, and he's got an 800 OPS. You'll take that at first base, right? It's not a Pete Alonso, but he's going to be 34 years old in May, and I mean, I'd take that at first base. That's fantastic for the Sox, but good signing. I like that. And what do they give up to get him?
Not a ton. A couple of, back end prospects, things like that. They also got Sonny Gray, of course.
Right.
In the same month, less than a month. So they're reuniting Sonny and Willson after thinking that they're probably never going to play together again. The headliner was Hunter Dobbins, who to me is like a depth starter. I mean, he doesn't really have swing and miss stuff, but he is durable, and he can be your, I don't know, 6th, 7th starter in your org, which is good for the Cards because with where they're at, where the org is at, you can take a risk on a couple of these young arms, and one of them will pop more than likely. I mean, that's the thing about having the flexibility of not being a competitive team is you are able to give guys opportunities.
Well said. I think it's nice for me as someone who likes to see glory come back to Busch Stadium just for America, right? That they're not doing this, we're going to get starting pitching and give you Lance Lynn like they did. It's nice. I'm going to call it that Bloom is switching things up. And that's similar to that, though, in the NL East, you have the Mets that I'm starting, a couple red flags are going up where I'm like, this feels like a sell-off. And I thought it was like a little bit of a salary dump with the Simeon thing. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, but it's starting to look like McNeil's gone and, screw it. We're going to have Jorge Polanco play first base. Speaking of guys that don't hit over 20 bombs a year and playing first base, there's that. Jorge gets a 2-year, $40 million after his incredible year in Seattle. What a bounce back. But I don't know. Like McNeil goes to the A's for teenage prospect Yordan Rodriguez, another Yordan, shout out. What are the Mets doing? Are they just waiting for like Carson to come up, from the minors, or what's the play?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about the league though in the show is, one guy isn't going to save you. It takes more than one guy, Totally. This isn't the NBA, right? So, I mean, Carson Bench will be a nice addition. That being said, I mean, there's a couple pieces to this. The Jorge Polanco signing to me, I was fine with it, actually. That being said, it looks worse now that Mune went to the White Sox for 2 years, 34. Mm-hmm. I think that the Jorge deal looks worse.
Overpay, you mean?
Yeah, because Jorge got more money than Murakami. Murakami, you're getting age 26 and 27 seasons. And he really has more of a resume. I know it's in the MPB, but I mean, the guy broke the single season homer record for Japanese players, Japanese born anyway. So, yeah. And then the McNeil thing, that is said to be a locker room trade, Johnny.
Ooh, drama?
Yeah. So I guess rumor is Jeff is one of the bat smashing, yelling teammates. So A lot of guys don't like that. And
They
I'm
love
sure
it in
that's not the
Oakland.
only piece of it, but that's the piece of it that's public.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully they'll like it in the Vegas A's dugout.
I mean, I think the A's won the trade on paper.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh my
David
God.
Stearns wanted to, well, I don't know if it was necessarily David Stearns. He might have gotten the suggestion from, the skipper himself, or it could have been Steve Cohen. But I do think that the Mets were motivated to get rid of Jeff McNeil.
Sort of like the Red Sox last year when they just shipped out West Raffy, and it's like, whoa, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, Raffy was one. You had Nomar. You had Manny. So there's been a few of them. David Price also had
Oh, really?
one or two incidents. Yeah, he had an incident with Dennis Eckersley, getting on or off the team plane.
Was Nomar like a feisty bad apple behind the scenes in Red Soxville? I forgot about that.
Varying accounts. I mean, I think he didn't really fit the team from a
No.
baseball standpoint too. Like he was getting hurt a lot at that point.
Yeah.
We're talking, 2003, got traded in the middle of 2004, right? Went to the Cubs.
That's so funny. He missed out on the World Series.
Well, do you remember they traded for
I
Orlando
remember.
Cabrera?
The next day, I remember it was the
Vermont
headline.
Lake Monster, Orlando Cabrera, by the way.
Exactly. And it was the next day, Orlando had this home run. And I remember the front page of the newspaper, what it looked like. And I was like, this Orlando Cabrera guy's so much better. And I was in like 6th grade at the time.
Yeah, no, Cabrera was fun, but yeah, I think Nomar was a mixture of reasons, some public, some not. But yeah, I mean, Manny was much more public that, the organization ran into multiple issues with Manny and Raffy.
We have a good time in Red Sox land, that's for sure. I want to talk a little bit about the Bucks getting O'Hearn too, because that's like the music of today, and I think that's where it started to click for me that they are starting to make some big moves, and we can maybe circle into the 3-way trade, circle a little bit back to the Brandon Lowe talk. So O'Hearn, you're gonna get maybe 20 bombs a year. He with Baltimore before the trade to the Dads, he batted .283 with an .837 OPS. I think that's where the hype about O'Hearn was around the deadline.
Yep.
I remember being pretty yitzed about him, at least in fantasy. And then you get Brandon Lowe. And so it's like, okay, you're not getting your bombs from O'Hearn, let's say, as a right fielder, first baseman that you'd expect. But Brandon Lowe, second baseman and outfielder. And you're getting 31 bombs last year in Tampa. That's fantastic. Granted, some of that's at Steinbrenner, but it's still Brandon Lowe. Is he what makes it a one deal for the Pirates versus the Astros and Rays in that 3-way?
I think so. I mean, Montgomery's a talented left-handed reliever with some upside. You got Brandon Lowe for a year. Mangum is a solid, fourth outfielder type. I don't really think he's an everyday guy because he doesn't have any power, and executives don't really like to acquire guys to play every day if they don't have any pop. So he's probably a role player. But Lowe, I mean, he could play 120 games and still hit 30 home runs.
Yeah, he's cool. He really gives us a run for our money on when we list out second basemen that can bat in the league. And we got Altuve, we got Kittel. Yeah, he makes some moves from shortstops to second, and then you talk about him, and it's like
Pitt's going to have a lot of power from the left side. I mean, you got Spencer Horwitz, you got Lowe, O'Hearn, O'Neal, Cruz. All 4 are lefties.
that's money. That's exciting.
So lefty heavy, but again, you acquire the player, you acquire the talent and the upside. Reynolds is also a switch hitter. So in their current projected lineup, they actually only have 3 right-handed hitters right now. Nicky Gonzalez, Triolo, and Joey Bart. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them add some help at catcher. I think Henry Davis, hate to say it, but I think he's a bust. So
You want to know what I think about this trade, Aidan?
what's that, Johnny?
I think we got to look at all the tuning knobs of this linear regression equation, and we need to understand the highest weight here is the scarcity of durable starting pitching. we also have to understand that because of that scarcity, it comes at a premium. And this is why I think Dana Brown is a genius, because you get Mike Burrows, who's got some pretty good numbers. You know, he only has 128 innings under his belt because he's coming off of a TJ from a couple years ago. But his pitch mix is awesome. He's a weird reverse splits guy against lefties, but Dana thinks they can give him the Hunter Brown treatment. Wave the magic two-seamer wand over him and help him with the righties. I've been watching video of this guy, and he's sort of like a little bit like Arrighetti, but with more velo. He's got a lot of spin, high RPM guy. And man, I'm excited about Mike Burrows. And you get 6 years of team control as a starter. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's not ARB eligible until 29. So yeah, crazy. Six years is great to see. If he is in fact, let's say, mid-rotation starter, it's probably his upside. The Astros are in a great spot with this trade because I think that Jacob Melton is probably a little overrated by certain front offices, but
speaking as resident Stros fan here, I will personally say Melton, very handsome mustache, nice family, love to root for a guy, but the bat was not there, right?
He's also a Pacific Northwest local, so I'd like to see him succeed. From Medford, Oregon State, Beaver alum.
That's right. Dana has this thing he does, though. You got to watch for this. It's his like Game of Thrones move, and I'm kind of woke to it now. So hopefully other people get the calling card. But what he'll do, and he did this actually during the Verlander comeback tour trade of 23 at the deadline when they shipped off Drew Gilbert and whomever else. I think it was Ryan Clifford to the Mets.
Yeah, Clifford. Yeah.
Right. And specifically that spring training, Dana had put his arms around Gilbert and said, not like physically, but he's like on an interview at the spring training camp, he's like, Gilbert's one of our good guys. We're never going to trade him. That's his glaze. And then at the deadline for Verlander, they ship Gilbert and Clifford, and he puts his hands around, Melton and says, well, we gave up Gilbert, we gave up Clifford, but we don't want to let go of Melton. He's really our guy. And I don't think that's naive hope. I think Dana's a scout, and I think he knows that their farm league is rated the way it is for a reason. So those little glazes start to stack up, and it's that, the limited menu effect that I think that's really where I think Dana did some wheeling and dealing. Melton may be rated highly, but in reality, as a Stros fan that's seen him play, I think they got a steal here.
Again, going back to this, but most of these guys are lawyers, right? Or they're MBAs. So when a lawyer is glazing on your baseball ability, you're probably getting traded tomorrow.
It's true. What's Dana's
We've
deal?
seen it time and time again, right? So, I mean, Dana's been around baseball for so long. I don't remember if he's MBA or lawyer. We'll have to look into that. But anyway, I've heard that so many times, and it's like, we're never gonna fire that coach or that manager, and then a week later, we had to get it done. We got to move on. It's like, well, that was 5 days ago, but.
Framber, Suarez, Belly, and Bo. Bregman and Tucker. Where will these names go? Christmas time is coming.
Oh!
What's going to end up in your stocking, ho, ho, ho?
Who's going to get a present under the tree?
King already went today. Back to the dads. Love to see it.
Yeah, Preller was able to get it done. And, I mean, they badly needed some starting pitching. So being able to lock in King is great. $25 million a year for a guy with that kind of upside. I like that deal. I like the $375. I still think you need another guy. I mean, right now you got Randy Vasquez and JP Sears, both former Yankees, in the back of that rotation, bringing up the rear. And I think those two guys should be competing for a fifth spot at best. I don't think that they should each rock into spring training with their own spot.
Framber's going to go to the Giants still, huh? I'm ready to party.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you see it, you can't unsee it.
But then Alonso went to the O's instead of the Reds, so I'm never going to have that.
Honestly, though, I'll maintain, geographically, we'll have to get into it. Cartographer, we'll have to find one, but no, we'll just Google map it. The distance from New York to Cincinnati versus distance from New York to Baltimore. I'm guessing Cincinnati's further, right?
Are you saying it's the golden ratio if you divide one by the other? Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I work for a mapping company, so maybe I can help here. Maybe we can get like a GIS layer uploaded to do golden ratios of player movements and free agency.
That'd actually be a pretty cool integration, like on MLB trade rumors.
Check like soil scores as well for the local area. See if they're eating well.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have a food score, hangout score, all that kind of thing. So, but and then last one I wanted to cover before we wrap up is Sun Moon Song.
Ooh, it's a fun name to say. The Swan Song.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Sun Moon? And do you see him as an everyday player?
I want to hear your thoughts first. He's where's he coming over from? KBO?
KBO, Kiwoom Heroes. So, to me, I mean, there could be upside of, Ha-Sung Kim adjacent, but I also could see him being more like Ye-Sung Kim or somewhere in the middle. I think he'll be able to accommodate, some versatility playing multiple positions in the infield. I'd like to see him get to the point where he's, a 15 homer guy. Maybe he's hitting, 274. You're playing some solid defense. I think he has a shot to be that guy. And if he's anything close to it, that's a really nice signing for San Diego. I mean, if he's even a successful role player, that's a win for. I mean, what is it? 3 years, 14 million? No, 3 years, 13 million.
Yeah. Wow, that is a steal. So you get King and Sun Moon Song.
It's a steal if he's a major league player.
Yeah.
If he's not, you're burning $13 million.
You are the KBO aficionado. What's his calling card? Is he like a defense first guy? Looks like he's got some good OBP in the KBO. Ooh, 530 slugging percentage in 25. Oh my god. Started slow, right?
Okay. So, the first 19 to 23 posted 4 sub 700 OPS seasons. And then 24-25, looks like he made some adjustments, came into his own. And then he recorded 927 and 24, 917 and 25. So, I mean, he's got, numbers similar to Kim when he left. Kim did it a little more consistently. But, I mean, really, listen, you hit 340 in any league, driving 100 big ones. That's a good season.
Okay, this is going to sound silly and funny. I don't know why I said both. I'm watching this home run side view of him. First off, number 24, he's got like the perfectly fitted pants. Bro looks awesome. He looks like a late 90s MLB player.
Nothing like a good fit.
It's crazy. It's really amazing what that does for a guy. Here's what I'm getting to. He's a lefty and he's got the same load as Yordan Alvarez, but right when the bat comes through the zone, he switches it up and does that like Japanese flatter bat thing. Yeah. And he's got this real pretty golf where he kind of like golfs it and does a little foot hop. Man, I love this. This is fun.
I must confess, I haven't looked at the swing too much yet. But I'm excited to dig into it more. But I think we got to run, Johnny. I think we'll wrap here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to all. It's been a wonderful run here at episode 12 with Painting Corners. Thanks for coming by. And be sure to hit the bell for notifications here on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you're listening to your podcast. And again, check us out at painting-corners.com. Every day, fan writing program coming soon. We're all over the socials. See us on X, Blue Sky, Threads. Thanks for coming by. Johnny C., Aidan Smith, we're out.
Postulating them all. Through training camp, the dog days, seasons, ebbs and flows, losing streaks and winning ones. They're talking about it all, listening to Pain and Cold.